Join the chat. Let's start the show.
Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, all you absolutely amazing people out there. Welcome to another episode of the Happy Hour Show with your host, Lindsey Vertner, and I am going to introduce my very special guest in just one moment. But first, if you are tuning in, thank you, because I know you could be spending your time doing anything in the world right now, but you are here with the Happy Hour Show. And that means engage with us. This is a conversation between me, my guest, and you. So don't sit at home listening all quietly. Join in the chat, grab a drink, invite some friends, put in the chat where you're tuning in from. Make sure you post your questions for my special guest in the chat. Any comments, put it all in there. Let us know you're here. And for those that have no clue who I am, my name is Lindsey Vertner. I'm a peak potential strategist and transformational speaker. I teach ambitious, busy female entrepreneurs how to master their mindset and increase their self-care, self-worth, and self-discipline, because that's so important to our personal and professional lives at a subconscious level. So it's important that we master our mindsets. But if you're tuning in live, make sure you comment all the way live. And if you're catching the replay later on, then comment replay all day, okay? Let me know where you're tuning in from. Comment, love, share this video, because I know some gems are going to be dropped tonight. My special guest is amazing. I've met her in real life, and she is awesome. And I see y'all already tuning in. Mr. Net says, hello. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And let me go ahead and introduce our special guest for this evening. Her name is Danielle Mitchell. Some of you may have heard of her. She is an international marketing and social media strategist, and she's a highly sought after speaker. She's spoken all over the US and even internationally over in Ghana and all kinds of other places. She helps companies to gain leverage and digital visibility across the world. She's worked with companies such as L'Oreal, Kmart, Sears, and Coca-Cola. She's the founder of Average Black Girl, which propels emerging multicultural businesses through digital marketing, web and graphic design, and project management and strategic partnerships. She is just awesome. And let me just go ahead and bring her up to the stage so that y'all can see for yourself, okay? Hello. Welcome to the Happy Hour Show, Miss Danielle.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, we are glad to have you. I see those comments rolling in. And so I know I just gave a very, very short snippet of your amazing, phenomenal resume, but I want you to peel back the curtains and let the viewers and the listeners know, like, who is Danielle really? Like, give us the juice background of Danielle Mitchell.
Yes. So for me, I'm one of those people where my story is pretty streamlined. I went to the University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana, and there I studied business management and business marketing in the College of Business. And my internships were in marketing. I started by interning at L'Oreal, and that really kind of catapulted my trajectory into marketing. It was kind of above the time. I was able to talk to influencers for like product launches. I was working with Mizani and L'Oreal Technique and Essie Nails. So super fun. And then after that, I ended up working with Coca-Cola. So I actually have worked with Coca-Cola in Orlando, Miami, and Atlanta. So different markets, different people. And Atlanta really has a spot that's near and dear to my heart because that is where I started my brand, Average Black Girl. But that is also where I just got exposed to so many different things outside of just working a corporate 9 to 5, but also utilizing those tools to start your business. And so we'll definitely dive into more of that there. But yes, I always knew I wanted to dive into marketing because it is, I feel like, the perfect mix of those that are tactical and think super like techie and streamlined, and they like numbers and things like that, but are also creative. And I feel like I'm both. People are always like, are you left brain or right brain? I'm like, I use both sides of my brain. And so that works for me. And I definitely love talking to other people about it because it's really not push. It's like, oh, are you doing engineering? Are you doing economics? Are you doing finance? But I feel like marketing is where it's at. And a lot of people that get into it, like they think like me, you know, if you were a class line leader in school, you probably are on that trajectory, you know, things like that.
So it's so funny that you brought up being the class line leader. And can you think back to any time in your childhood where maybe it was there all along? Because sometimes there are clues from our past that lead us to what we're doing today that's really part of our overall purpose. Not if we're just picking a job to pick a job, but when we're really walking in our purpose and doing something that we love, sometimes there's clues from our past. So can you think of any moment like that?
Absolutely. So I always tell people, and this is just my perspective, and it's a little like risque, but I'm just going to say it anyway. I think that, you know, for Black people, specifically Black women, but Black men as well, like for Black women, like we want to do jobs that bring in money. Money is really where the world goes around. And so there's a lot of, different, I want to say, like applications and jobs, situations and careers that are being thrown at us that really don't allow you to step up to that next level generationally. And so when I'm talking to people, like that is important. At the end of the day, Oprah can write a check and change my life more so than 10 people dedicating 80 hours of volunteer work to help my business. And that's just facts. And I want to eventually be an Oprah to someone, right? I want to be able to change lives and actually write checks that are going to change the trajectory of people. I know that even for me, getting my internship of L'Oreal, I went through a program called Management and Leadership for Tomorrow. So I never say that I got it by myself. There was always people that came before me and it helped me to open these doors. But all that takes money, right? And we don't talk about that enough. There are so many different people that are trying to start nonprofits with no profit. And it's really hard, right? It's hard creating a for-profit business. It's really hard creating a non-for-profit business with no money. At the end of the day, you still have like customers. They're either donating or paying, but there's still a transactional thing going on. And so for me, it's just really important that we push that. So I would say back in the day, what really changed the trajectory of how I knew I was going to be where I'm at is when I first discovered Macy's. So my mom did not tell me, and it was Marshall Fields back in the day, but she did not expose me to a Marshall Fields until my 13th birthday. And I was just like, in awe, like, what is this? And she was like, I didn't bring you here on purpose because I knew that she was going to go crazy and stuff like that. But even then I knew like I wanted nice things and those things cost, honestly, right? And there I was able to really understand from a young age. I was put on my mom's credit card as an authorized user. So like they explained to me at a young age, like really how the world goes. And unfortunately, or fortunately, however you think about it, we're in a society that is ran by economics. So you decide where you want to be and be out. So I knew going into college that I wanted to be in a place that was dealing with business. Like I knew I wanted to be in the College of Business. I knew I wanted to be able to have a career that had a high starting salary. I knew I wanted to be able to eventually make a lot of money.
Yes. And you brought up so many different key points. And particularly the one that I kind of want to delve in a little bit more on was that point of liking nice things. Because I know oftentimes as women of color, we are led to believe that if we like nice things, we're bougie, or if we like nice things, we're a gold digger. And that only plays into that subconscious belief that we're not good enough. We're not good enough like all the other people to have nice things. And if we do have nice things, then we schemed and scammed and didn't pay a light bill to get it. And so just making it part of the normal conversation that we are deserving of nice things. And that doesn't make us bougie like anything else. It just means that we deserve nice things just as you do. So in that moment, did you ever have a time where you felt like, I deserve this too, and I'm going to go get it? And did you have any like obstacles overcoming that societal belief that we aren't worthy of nice things being people of color?
Yes, there's like this meme going around of this saying that I see all over social media: normalize Black women living in luxury. And that's just what we need to do. Like, there are a lot of people literally making that generational change for their business, for their family. And I'm so excited that I'm witnessing that, both in corporate and out. Like, there's no blueprint to get it, but people are working on their credit scores or working on their savings, like doing so much. And I am so proud. But for me, I mean, my parents are first generation to go to college. So there was where we have like a cleaner come every quarter to like do like deep cleaning. So I was already exposed to certain things for sure. But I think that each step of the way, there is a mental kind of thing that you need to work on. For me, when I first got into corporate, it was like, whoa, do I deserve to be here? Then when I got my first promotion, it was like, whoa, do I deserve to be there? Then when I experienced my first racism, right? I have experienced different managers not treating me the same, and my white coworkers telling me that I wasn't getting the same treatment, and the organization going my way and saying, yeah, you weren't getting the same treatment. So that whole thing was like a lot, but they went in my favor. So I really don't have much negative to say, but at the end of the day, I'll never forget that experience of my first like overt racist treatment, right? Mm-hmm. Then when you start your business, it's another, do I deserve it? And then when you get your first big contract, do I deserve it? So I think that those things are normal, but how are you using it? I know since the pandemic, I had to really work on what is a abundance mindset? Like, what does that look like? Because mindsets and things like that, it's not something that you can just go to a conference or do one session and you're healed, right? Mm-hmm. That's a must that you need to work on daily. Like, I had to incorporate that to my morning routine so that I can work on that regardless of what was happening in the news, regardless of what was happening in the world, so that I was showing up, that I believed in me, that I could move the needle forward each day.
Yes. I love that you brought up mindset, because, mindset is my jam, honey. So it is so in the mindset. And I think it's becoming more popular today to focus on the mindset, but then there's still so many people that don't understand how powerful our mindset is to the things that we're creating and the reality that we're living. And so I try to teach my clients and those that I'm working with that, or anybody that's listening, right, that our mindset is driving every single thing that we do. Our mindset is affecting our personal life. It's affecting our professional lives. And the thing is that it affects it at a subconscious level. So you don't know what you're doing until it's done. And even then you might still look back like, why did I do that? Or why can't I get out of this cycle? Or I keep saying that I desire this, but it seems to be just out of reach. And mindset comes into play with that. Like, you have to shift your mindset. And once you become aware of the beliefs that you hold, then you got to do the work, which is where people fall off. It's first becoming aware and then being willing to do the mental and emotional work to shift your mindset. So would you say that, like, what would you say was your biggest obstacle as far as shifting your mindset?
So for me, I had some issues that I knew I needed to kind of address, that I was able to at the start of the pandemic. So Taraji P. Henson, she has a foundation called the Boris Henson Foundation, named after either her father or grandfather. And so she's actually offering free therapy for 6 weeks to anyone. You just have to apply. So I was able to get my first therapist experience for free through that organization. And so there is where I was able to really like, okay, these are some people that are in your family that you have to like deal with. How can you kind of change what you're doing, right? So it's like not that you're trying to change the person, but like what boundaries can you set? What can we do so that you feel comfortable being around certain individuals? And so that was the first step. I really need to work on those things. And I just wasn't able to really address the elephant in the room until I was able to be still. Once that happened, then I was like, I really want to focus on my morning routine, because this was right before the extension of the stay at home for 2 weeks to flatten the curve. That was when I was like, let me go and get some help. Not because I was kind of had anxiety or anything like that, but I had to be real with myself. And I personally had not really dealt with a lot of disappointment. Now, granted, I told you about my situation with like the racism in corporate America, but that ended up going my way. So it really wasn't that bad. And anything else, I was really able to, call my parents or a family member to really bail me out. Like I was never in a situation where like you really, really made a bad mistake and now, it's something detrimental. And so I had to be honest with myself. Do you have the tools to deal with disappointment or things happening out of your control? And I have to be honest, I didn't. I'm okay with the decisions that I make and dealing with the repercussions of whatever that comes with. But someone telling me stuff and everything is different every other day, like that stuff was irritating to another level. And it was March, and so I had lost all my speaking engagements. So I was like, let me get some help. And you can kind of see who was able to pivot and say, you know what? This is what's happening. Let me change right now and figure out how I can move with it. And who was like, you know what? I'm just going to wait this out. And you can see now at the end of the year who did and who didn't, or who is just now starting to, because they're realizing that we got another year of this stuff. And so that really helped me. That beginning, I can say honestly, I really didn't have the abundance mindset intentionality that I do now until the pandemic. And that was just me. I was go, go, go. Yes, I was still moving and grooving, but now I'm able to really have that intention, really push the needle forward and really determine like, what does, again, success look like to me? Because I even had to, and I was telling one of my clients this, I was like, I had to have some boundaries. Like I don't work after 8 p.m. anymore. I wake up earlier. There just has to be some work-life balance. And I have to be at a place where I've done enough for the day. I will do the rest tomorrow. Because it was a point where I was like, well, I can always do more. I can do some more. That's not the balanced life that I want to have. So yes, more will come in 2021. But I'm okay with, I have to sleep 8 hours. I have to have time for personal life. I have to make time to work out. I have to make time to connect and catch up with my friends and family that's important with me. That has to be just as important as pitching new people or having these meetings or sending invoices or whatever else that is important. And I had to figure out, what does that look like for me? Because as more comes, I still need to have those balances.
And I love that you said that, because balance is important. You have to have that personal connection with your family and friends and be intentional about taking that time, because I'm sure we can all think of a lot of people that are just go, 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 like oh, I got 5 jobs, I'm hustling, I'm doing this, but like, are you living your life? Because right now it sounds like you're living to work, and that's not the way that life should be. And I understand everybody isn't meant to start businesses or things like that, but it's about tapping into your purpose, tapping into your skills in a way that you are able to have balance between working, whatever form that comes in, and then having that time with your family. Because I know I can think of somebody right now, oh, I'm doing this for my kids, but you don't ever see your kids, and what they really need is your time and attention. So, I mean, uh,
Exactly. I mean, I get it. At the beginning, you are spending a lot of time, but then you need to figure out how can you grow and scale. You need to figure out how you can actually be the CEO of your business and how you can have other people to help build your team. Or are you going to be a solopreneur forever? But that's not scalable. And that's also not sustainable. And just understand, and that is where I was able to really understand what can I do. And that's when I started, honestly, in COVID, I started really creating digital products and physical products and really pushing those versus before I really was the brand. Like people were booking me for my brain, my skills, my know-how. And now it's a little bit like 50-50 where people just like the stuff that I'm creating. And I love that because once I go to the post office, we're done. Or I can just send you to Amazon and it's passive. And that's sustainable. That's scalable because I can still get the people that I work one-on-one. I'm able to create those products for those people. But for other people that want to do it yourself or want stuff, you can just buy my course or buy the workbook and you're good. And that is where a lot of service-based businesses are heading. So if anyone's listening, like you want to think, what can I do or what can I create that is something that is digital, that they're still getting the information, maybe at a lower price point than my service, but then you can service more people, you can touch more people. And that allows you to grow and touch more people without having to physically take that time. And that's where I was. And I know I had to figure out that balance because like you said, well, at least for me, I built my business so I could have more free time. And then you get caught up in like the money. You're like, okay, well, I can do another hour. I can do another client. But then it's like, wait, that's not why I built this. And that's not how I want to live my life.
Yes, so many great points. If you are just tuning in, you are watching the Happy Hour Show with Lindsey Vertner and my special guest, Miss Danielle Mitchell. She is a marketing strategist, and as you can see, she is amazing at what she does. And listen, I need y'all to grab y'all's drinks, okay? Because I think that this is a perfect time to find out, a little game I like to play. Exactly.
What's in your cup?
This is that part of the show where we find out what's in your cup. If you've never seen the show before, then welcome. So glad you're here. But this is the part of the show where we find out what our special guest is sipping on. So she will share what she's drinking, and then she'll give us a little cup cam, and I'll share what I'm drinking. And you at home, make sure you put in the comments what you're sipping on. And if you forgot to grab your drink, it's okay. We still love you. Hashtag no judgment zone. But make sure you put in the comments what you plan to fix yourself after the show is over. Okay. So, Miss Danielle, please let us know what's in your cup.
So I have some Bacardi and some lemonade, some pink lemonade to be exact. And so that's what we're sipping on. And then my tumbler is really my brand. So I'm actually right here in the front. And then I have my Slay Squad. So you can grab that at aboveaveragestore.com. But I put this wherever I go.
Yes, hold that up some more. Give the people a nice close-up. Beautiful.
So we have one with locks, we have one with straight hair, we have one with curly hair, have different skin tones.
Representation.
Yes. Find your girl.
Yes, a party in your cup. And so I'm right along with you on the party bus because My cup is a nice wine glass from the fellow Dollar Tree. And I chilled it in the freezer prior to pouring my drink. And my drink that I do have. Listen, I don't have martini glasses. That's like filling up a gulp. I don't want to be refilling my cup 50,000 times. So, what's in here is a strawberry cream martini. Very
Ooh.
delicious. I know. I found a new recipe and I was like, ooh, this sounds good. And I tried my best to stick to the recipe, but I can't help it. I made it my own and I added my own stuff. And then voila, here we have a strawberry cream martini. So I'm feeling extra fancy.
I love it. We need the recipe. With your extra kick, we need to know what's in it.
You know what? You know what? I will do that. But if you want to have the recipe, you got to sign up for Happy Hour Show updates right down there. You see it scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Go to bit.ly/happy updates where you can stay updated on future episodes. And thanks to Danielle, you can also have my recipe for the strawberry cream martini. So make sure y'all give her lots of thanks in her DMs. Because of her and her special request, you shall get the recipe now. Over here in the comments, let's see. Miss Renette says, I want one. Yes. Well, you see that website. Well, you don't see it right now. I'll put it back up in just a moment. She says that cup. Yes. Isn't it such a cute cup? Let's go ahead. Here is the website right here. AverageBlackGirl.com. That's where you can find all of the good things that Miss Danielle has to offer. And so thank you. Let's get back into this conversation though. And so you went the typical route as far as going to college and then going to the corporate world. But at some moment, you decided that you wanted to take the entrepreneur route and start your own business. So give us a little picture of what did that look like? What did it look like when you had that moment where you said, you know what, I'm going to start my business? So tell us about that journey.
So I call it the quarter life crisis. And I feel like a lot of people go through it, right? At least my friends, we were all kind of going through at the same time, where it's like, okay, you did everything right. You know, you went to school, you went to high school, went to college, you had your first job, you've been doing something for a little bit. And really, you're in a situation where it's like, what do I want to do with life? Like, is this where I want to go? And so for me, I had a position that I really wanted. I had reached out to the recruiter. This is all internal, right? And then at that same time, I want to say like 3 or 4 people on my team, they quit. And so my manager blocked me from interviewing. I was like, wow, this is the first time that I feel like my career isn't put in the situation I wanted to be. And mind you, I didn't really like the position that I was in. Like I was ready to go. And there I was like, okay, I'm in a situation that I don't really love, but I'm not going to just quit and do nothing. So why don't I just start something on the side and see where it goes? So that'll make me happy. And, you know, I think I'm a great writer. I think I'm articulate enough. I think I got enough experience. Let me see where it's at. And so I started my brand on YouTube. I thought I was going to be like this famous YouTuber, and that was what it was going to be. But as you grow your audience, you survey them. And so I was like, well, what do you guys want to know? And when I surveyed them, they came back and said, we want to know what you've learned in your experiences. You work with some of the biggest brands in the world, like teach us some marketing strategies, teach us what you've learned. And so there I started consulting. And for me, it was really quick because, again, that whole work-life balance thing, I'm really big on. And I just felt like I was working. I was going to work. I was going from work from like 7 to 3 so I could get off early, so I could be home and situated by 4 and then work on my business from 4 until I passed out. So I did that for a couple of months. And then I was like, you know what? I got a daddy. I don't need to be doing this. Like this, I have no kids. Like, why am I stressing myself out and working like I got 4 or 5 kids when I have 0? I called him and was like, come get me. I'm coming home. So he drove to Atlanta, packed me up. And my parents are still together, so they both just allow for me to be creative in my room. And so I did that for a couple of years until I was able to make enough money to move out. And so I live in Chicago now, and they're in the suburbs, and that's kind of where I'm at. But for me, it was, I won't say that I recommend that. Like, if you don't have a support system, that's not what you want to do. But as you build your business, there is something, right? So if you see people just doing that, they have support, whether it's their husband or their parents or their boyfriend, or like somebody is financing a lot of their living situation. So if that's not you, that's okay. But just understand that you do. Like, I sacrificed my privacy for a little bit. I sacrificed getting my hair done. That was the one thing that I stopped doing. I went natural so that I could not be spending money on that, so I could build my business, right? Those are the things that I personally sacrificed. And that's normal, right? It's normal too at the beginning stages, but then you want to figure out where it's time to grow and scale. So that's kind of my story. Again, kind of messy, but it is what it is, right? But I feel like it was a quarter life crisis, and I really had to figure out, like, what does it want to be? What I want to do? How do I want to live my life? And so I know that I want to be a very hands-on mother when that time comes. So that means that I want to be able to maybe homeschool them for a little bit, or make sure that they have, I want them to know multiple languages. So maybe make sure they have those things. So whatever that is, I want to be able to like actually be there and be a mother and not just a woman with kids. And there's a difference. And honestly, I just feel like there's a lot of people that are out there that are like that. And that's not what I wanted to do. So I made the decision early, so that now I'm in my early 30s. I just turned 31. Like, it's a reality that could happen, right? Because it does take time. But now I'm able to bring in money and still be at home. I mean, granted, we're in the pandemic, and so a lot of things have changed now. But that was my goal. Like, how can I do this? And now, fast forward, it's the wave. Honestly, it seems like everybody needs a side hustle. Even if you just want to stay in corporate, like, it's the wave, and it's anything. You can talk about mindset, baking, finance, or anything in between. And there's a lane for that. I remember a couple years ago, like, the most viewed or paid YouTuber was like a sock puppet person, and that you didn't even know their face. Like, there's literally a lane for everything.
Man, that is so true. And you hit on so many different key points. One of them that I wrote down was that people often point out your purpose. And so you kind of alluded to that whenever you said you asked them what they wanted, and they said, well, we want to know your story and how you did this. And so I know a lot of time people are like, what's my purpose? I can't figure it out. But then if we stop and we just take a look back at our lives and our interactions with other people, like, there's clues all along. It's just being open to be aware of those clues. Because if you have somebody that's constantly telling you, or a lot of people that are constantly telling you, like, you're really good at this, and meanwhile you're minimizing it, like, this, oh, I do that with ease, that might be an indicator that that's a part of your bigger purpose in some way or some form. Or, like how you said they were like, we want to hear your story. How did you do this? Like, just leading you down that pathway. So that was one thing you said. And then another thing that you mentioned about sacrifice, sometimes we allow that fear of failure or the fear of the unknown to hold us back from going after our dreams, whether it's starting a business or maybe there's a promotion. But you mentioned that you hated your job. And you were like, I know there's got to be a different way. And so for you, the sacrifice that you made was giving up your privacy and moving back in with your parents for a few years. And so it's important to identify what that sacrifice looks like for you, the viewers, the listeners at home, because it might be some sleepless nights. It might be being tired for a week because you're working your corporate job and then going home and working on your business, just like Danielle did. It might be be not going out to eat every other day or every weekend, not getting your hair done, not getting your nails done, not getting that new car that you want and sticking with your old hoopty. But asking yourself, what sacrifices are you willing to make to truly go after your goals and dreams? So I'm glad that you pointed that out.
Yes. I always tell people, like, a lot of people make it more complicated than it needs to be. You are selling to the you 5 years ago. A lot of people think that they're selling to them today, and that's where they get stuck, because they're like, shoot, there's nothing that I can do that I can sell to myself. And that's true, because you know everything right now. You're no good to you. But the you 5 years ago, put yourself in that situation. What do you wish that you would have known, or what do you wish that you would have been provided to in a nice cupcake order? And in my book, 10K in 60 Days, I actually talk about all that stuff that you just listed. So I have, what are your wow factors that you can sell? So I say, make a list and ask yourself, what questions do my family and friends ask me all the time? What tasks do I perform on a daily at work, even if it's not a part of your job description? What skills have I gained as a result of formal training or education? What struggles have I overcome or helped others overcome? And what I tell people is this: you can pivot, right? I said that I thought that I started as a YouTuber, and now I have like courses and workbooks and all types of stuff. It's really not about what you do. People get so caught up, and you want to be careful when you name yourself, right? You don't want to be like Bob's hot dog stand and then want to expand. It's really, really hard. But if you're able to name yourself, Bob's Magical Eatery, then it could be a lot of stuff in there. You can move around. You could sell meal plans. If it comes into that, you can sell different types of food. You can do seasonings. There's so many things, because it doesn't tell me exactly what it is. You're not pigeonholing yourself into something. And so a lot of people end up pigeonholing, and then they feel like they need to start over. But in reality, the people that I follow, they've started something, they've done it for a little bit, they close out at the end of a year, and then they revamp with something else, but their same brands, who they are, they that traction that they built from that last year with their ongoing brand, it changes. So like for me with Average Black Girl, like that's broad enough that people really don't know. So if I wanted to do something completely different next year, I could, and I wouldn't have to quote unquote start over. And the people that are following me would just adjust, right? So there's that. There's also, again, once you think about it, if you're getting paid to do something, then why can't you just do that again outside of your job? Like literally, when you think about it, somebody is paying you to do whatever that task is. And a lot of people think, oh, I'm just a salesperson, I don't have anything. And it's like, no, every business needs to sell. So maybe you could package up and sell, or talk about how you deal with different people. Like there is something. Now, if you need help, then that's where, me or Lindsey are here to help you. But I don't think that you need to like think so hard. And the older generation, so I'm talking about people that are born in the 80s, people born in the 90s, people born in the 70s. There's like a mental thing that's paralyzing people, where you feel like you need to have a PhD before you're a quote unquote expert. And then the Zennials don't even graduate high school and are like teaching and making courses and stuff. So there's like a big disconnect on what is an expert. And an expert literally is just someone that gets paid for their knowledge or their service. And so if you can do that, you're an expert. So if you're working a job, you're an expert in whatever you're getting paid for. You can push that through. So I think that that needs to disconnect. Like my older clients, they are like the hardest to actually launch and consistently promote, because they feel like, well, I got to do one more thing. I got to tinker one more bit. I'm not ready yet. And that's just not the case.
I love that, because I mean, you have to think about through those years that you spent doing whatever it is that you do. Like, even if you were a greeter or a bagger at a grocery store for 20 years, that's 20 years of customer experience that you have. So identifying, how can I package this into something that I can sell?
Literally, because if you're a greeter, then think about how your transferable skills can be for concerts or pop-up shops or festivals. it's the same thing. How can you get somebody to come to your table for something else? You can package that up and teach it. But you think that you're not an expert and you're not even putting yourself on a field to even compete or like get clients. And so there's that part too.
And that brings out like even an idea. So my nonprofit is the Unleashed Woman. And so of course we didn't have our conference this year, but we usually have an annual women's empowerment conference. And throughout the year, we'll have like smaller pop-up events, but for the conference, like a greeter would be awesome. I remember the last live one that we had, and we were thinking of a task for a volunteer, like what was going to be her main thing to focus on. And we were like, we can't put her at the door because she doesn't have that type of that type of energy. Like that can't be the first thing an attendee sees. And so like just having someone that is exclusively the greeter and acknowledges, welcome to the conference. This is where you pick up your registration packet, and this is where the breakout rooms are, and you'll have lunch here. You know, like that, you can do something with that.
It's a skill. And people, they think that because it came easy to you, that it's easy to everybody. And that is not the case. And once you understand that, that means you are operating in your zone of genius. What comes easy to you does not come easy to other people. Just receive that, take it, and then you can figure it out. And then once we're done with that, then Black women, particularly, I'm talking to you, we got to talk about how we're pricing things because we underprice ourselves so much. So there's one group of women that I want to help everybody. So I want to make my stuff affordable. But you don't have a following to really do that. There's only so many $20 products that you're going to sell per week. If you don't have, ads and new places that you're showcasing your work and all that, you are just trying to sell to the same people. And now you don't have enough money to pay a light bill and all that stuff. So we need to figure out how we can get these premium products. Plus you can have something for everybody or those things, but you got to have a little bit of both for majority people. And the things are, our white counterparts don't have an issue. They're selling 5-figure offers, right? They're selling some of even 6-figure offers without a bat. Mm-hmm. And we're struggling to get past that $500 frame. And it's really a mental, again, a mindset thing. And it may mean that you need to change your audience. People that are struggling may not be your audience for that. So how can you get into the hands of people that are able to pay and can pay in full? And so that's a whole nother, I think, thing that we need to talk about. Like there has to be a price increase in 2021 for a lot of people, for a lot of businesses. And yes, you can have things that are affordable, but you gotta at least have that higher tier price and so that you can really grow, scale, save, whatever it is that you need to do. And not always be in a situation where we're hustling so hard.
Yes, so true, so true. If you're just tuning in, you're watching the Happy Hour Show with Lindsey Vertner and my special guest, Miss Danielle Mitchell. You see her info right there. Follow her on Instagram at Danny So Fancy, and her website is averageblackgirl.com. Make sure you check her out. And Miss Danielle, I would love for you to share what is the worst marketing mistake that you see a lot of entrepreneurs making in today?
Okay, so there's a couple things. One, I think that we got to get past the shade. There's so many shade posts, especially about customers. And I just think that that's so not tactful. And you got to think about what kind of message you're sending for other people. So I always look at that and I'm like, okay, you had a bad experience. It happens. But would you do that to me too? I don't need my name. I'm very selfish when it comes to that. So like that's one. Let's not work on the shade. Two, I think that those I need X amount before I hit my goal. We don't care. It happens every end of the year. And I'm like, ma'am, I don't care about you hitting your goal. Does your service serve me? Like, does your product serve me? What is that? So, so that needs to stop. That's not useful at all. And then the tagging 96 other people in comments. Exactly. Don't do that. Don't. First of all, on my page, it won't be seen because I gotta approve it. So that's a no. And you keep doing that, that's a block. So like, that's not it. That's not it for me. I need you to stop.
Man, oh man. I can think of
lazy. You're being lazy.
Off the top of my head that tags me in everything. And as soon as I see their name, I already know it has nothing to do with me. Stop tagging 50-11 people. Like as soon as I see it, I'm just like, oh, what is it now? Like that gets very tiring. Like, so even whenever I have my tag moments, even though it has something to do with the person that I tagged or the people that I tagged, I'm still like, I still get that little hesitation, like, hopefully they realize that they do have to do at this point. They see their name or they see whatever right there. And yeah, like, so please stop, because I get at least 2 or 3 of those a day from various people. And I'm like,
it's not helpful. I'm like, are people buying? Because they're not. You're not even on people's page because they blocked it. Like, no, this is not how. It's very spammy. So no, it's lazy. And so if you're one of those people that does that, then it lets me know you need an email marketing plan. You need a funnel where you're taking people through a process and leading them to something. Like, that's what you're missing. And you think that by tagging, you're going to get that, and you're really not. And it's also invasive. And if people don't do it to you, then it's really unfair. Like, I think that, yeah, of course, I have some friends, like they ask me to post something or share something and vice versa. That's where it's quid pro quo, right? We're both doing it. We're both benefiting, but it's just kind of like selfish. It looks bad. So there's that. That is not the way to go. No.
Amen. Pass the collection plate on that. And they just don't get it. Like, some of them I have no problem blocking, but then other ones, it's like, dang it. Like, how do I get you to stop doing this without blocking you? Because everything else is like, fine. It's just when you do this, it's like,
you're my friend in real. I know you're in real life. You're my friend in real life. Why are you doing this? Why did I become one of the people? The 99.
Man, oh man. I can think back even whenever I launched my First Class Life book earlier in the spring, and I had my my thank you post that listed the early supporters. Like, even then I was like, oh, I don't want to tag all these people. They're going to feel like it's spam, but like, I need you to see this special created post just for you and feel special and all of that stuff. So that was funny. You just shared the worst marketing tips that you see. Well, the good tips about the worst habits that you see. And so share some of us. What are your top 3 marketing advice?
Yeah. So this is what you want to do when you're online, right? People want to know 3 things. What you're doing, have you done it to other people? So that is social proof. That's why it's important for you to have testimonials, not only written testimonials, text message testimonies that you can share. You want video testimonials, and then you want people to go and leave you testimonials on your actual Facebook fan page, right? And so even LinkedIn, you can do reviews, but you want to show that there are real people that they can then go and either click and see what they look like, see if they're the same phenotype, same demographic, because that's what I look for. I personally am like, oh, okay, they do this. Well, do they do this to Black people, or do they do this to Black young women? You know, I look for those things. So if you want a diverse group, then make sure that you have diverse testimonials, right? I'm very like, oh, I need an older Indian woman, or I need a older white woman on my testimonials. I'm cognizant if that's what I want to get into, how can I go ahead and do that? So have a testimonial strategy. And that can mean after, you know, a program, you send them a survey and ask them to do a testimonial, or you send out an email to your email list every quarter asking for testimonials, or you have a case study on your website. There's no wrong way, but you just need that. The second thing is people want to know, have what you're doing, have you done it to yourself? And so that is where a lot of people get caught up, right? You were talking about how you do marketing, and that was my issue, right? When I quit and I was like, okay, I'm about to conquer the world. I know all this marketing. I got this. And no one was biting at first. And I had to go and do what I knew to my own brand. I had to get my own followers. I had to curate my own posts. I had to do all these things. And then people came. It didn't matter if I said it. They wanted to see what I'm doing. And can I do it to myself? And then lastly, people want to know, if I give you money, will you give me the results that I'm looking for? And so that's what the three things that people want to know. So whatever you're doing, you want to keep that in the back of the mind, and then you want to build what we call know, like, and trust. So you want people to get to know you. So think about Beyonce, right? Or Rihanna. We think that we know them. We think that we know their favorite color. We think that we know how they move and all this stuff. But in reality, it's curated. We know what they allow us to know. Mm-hmm. But it's done in a way that we're connecting to them. We think that we know them, which brings us to our second point of liking them. We like them, so we have no problems spending all our money on Ivy Park or Fenty Beauty or, figuring out going into work late so we can buy our Beyonce tickets or whatever, right? Because we like them. We feel like we know who they are. That's our homegirl. And then we like them enough that we'll give them the money. And then we trust, right? We trust that if we give them our money, that we're going to get our product or our service, and it's going to be worth our money, right? So you want to do the same thing. So sometimes people will be like, oh my God, I can't believe that, this person is dancing or being silly on social media. Like, that's so off brand. And it's not. They're showing another side of them so that you can build that know, like, and trust factor, right? So even when it's off brand, it's still a part of the brand. You may not think it is because it's like, oh, wow, that's different. But no, they're showing a different side of them so they can connect more. Because now they're being silly. You think that they're their friend, or they're going on live and they're talking to you. And now you have that connectivity. Now you're ready to give all your money, right? That's why live is important. That's why people are pushing video, because it pushes that further, you being able to buy. And I'll leave you lastly, there are two types of customers, right? So there is the hunter method where, I'm going out, got my gun, get my target, boom, right? That happens maybe 30% of the time, where you can post something and people buy immediately. Most people are what we call the farmer or the grower or the harvester method, where you have to cultivate your leads. You have to constantly pour on them. And then in different times are different people cropping or ready to harvest. And so that's where you have that consistent money, but you're also consistently pouring in. So a lot of people come in and be like, oh, marketing strategy, I'm going to do this for a week. And then boom, I'm going to make all this money and blah, blah, blah. And that's not true, because again, you're thinking that majority of your leads or your clients are going to be hunter method, when in reality, majority of them are going to be farmer method. But you can push the needle forward by, again, doing things to build that know, like, and trust. Having webinars, having master classes, even having paid classes, right? They'll pay for that one information, but it's at a lower price point. But you want to kind of show them, hey, in this free class or in this cheap class, you've learned 3 great things. So you know that my paid stuff is going to be amazing, right? You're able to move the needle faster by doing those things. But when you don't, and you're just like posting and that's it, that's where people have a lot of issues really moving the needle within their marketing, because people think that marketing is like a project, and it's not. That's the main mistake. Marketing is ongoing. There is no end date. There's an end date for maybe a campaign, but it's never completely over, unlike another project, right? There's an end date to creating your ebook or creating your course or creating something else. but there is no end date to marketing. It's always something. And so people get burnt out or they get upset. And that's where they start really, that's when they come to me and are like, okay, what am I doing? And that's when it's like really pushing back. This is expectations. And then figuring out what you're going to do. You're either going to spend your time or your money or both. Mm-hmm. But ads are so that you can meet other people. But do you have your pixels checked in so that when people come to your Facebook page, your Instagram page, you're tracking them? You know, so that's when it gets super techy. But you got to figure out, like, how are you meeting people? How are people getting to know you? How you made this course and you spent all 2020 making this course and making this product or making this whatever you're selling, and then you post 2 or 3 times and then give up. It doesn't make sense. If you spent all year creating, then spend the next year selling, and then come to me and say it didn't work or this is what happened. But people don't spend enough time, and it's because of, again, they spent too much time creating and now they're in an area of desperation, or again, they don't understand what they're doing. They're only pushing selling and not understanding the why, or not building connection. It's a lot of different things. And so there's books out here. I have a course called Marketing Makes Sense that breaks down how to create and then how to sell. I'm also available for discovery calls, or you can definitely DM, or I go live on my Instagram and Facebook as well. But it's yes, and my website is averageblackgirl.com, and my Instagram is Danny So Fancy. But it's definitely something that I don't want you to feel like overwhelmed, but it's something that I suggest starting with what you can and then always building. Because that's another issue that people do. People start out being perfect. I'm going live every day. I'm doing one course a week and blah, blah, blah. And you do it great for like a week, 2 weeks max. And then you get burnt out. And so you're like, okay, well, I'm going to take a day off. And then one day turns into 3 turns into a whole week. And then you come to me and you're like, what happened? And we don't even have a whole month worth of data to actually even see what happened. So that's another issue that a lot of people face. And I know I'm talking to people as well that are like, oh my God, that's me. And understand that it's okay, but understand that you actually went out in a place of desperation. That perfect strategy, when you start out perfectly, I always say people, this is a perfect world, but this is realistic. You know, put in time for e-learning, put in time for your job saying extra, because it's not about your day being the same. It's about you showing up, regardless if your world is different. And if that means that you got to go out in your car and get on live, because that's the only place that's quiet. If that's what you got to do, if you've committed to going live every morning, then that's what you got to do. Mm-hmm. People don't care about the excuses, but if you're saying, hey, I'm going live every Tuesday and Thursday, then commit to that. Yep. But don't commit to every day and then fall off and then come back. People can't keep up. I can't keep up. Think of you like trying to be like Shonda Rhimes Thursday. You don't got to go live every day, but on Thursday, if that's your day, you better show up and come up with the content. Don't ramble. Yes. I hate a rambler. Like, what are you teaching?
Get to it and get to it. If you're just tuning in, you're watching the Happy Hour Show with Lindsey Vertner and my special guest, the lovely Danielle Mitchell, a marketing strategist extraordinaire, honey. She has dropped some amazing marketing tips. And if you missed it, make sure you go back and catch the replay. Make sure you share this video out. Comment down below. Yes, yes, yes. And so, Miss Danielle, I often talk about living a first-class life. And what that means is it's about you are being intentional about the life you are creating for yourself. You are being intentional about creating happiness in every moment that you possibly can. You are being intentional about shedding away the mask of fear, the mask of doubt, the mask of those expectations of living up to what other people want you to be. And instead, you are showing up boldly and unapologetically as you, flaws and all. And so I have to ask you, because I'm all about mindset and what I call the 3 pillars of self-care, self-worth, and self-discipline. So, my question that I have to ask all of my happy hour show guests is, how do you intentionally create happiness in your life?
Ooh. So for me, I definitely at this point I have what is called like a frolic list. And so it's all about keeping my energy high. So I actually have a list of things that I like to do so that when my energy is low, I go and do them. So again, I've really, really understood this year how important it is to have high energy every day, how important it is to have that abundance mindset every day. So in order to do that, every day, you're not going to feel it, and that's okay. So understanding what that looks like. And sometimes that's having a nice shower. Sometimes that's going to the gym. For me, I have to have candles in the house. That's non-negotiable. So, if Bath and Body Works has a sale, okay, great. But if not, I like the DW candles. That's my jam. So it's at Ross, it's at Marshall Fields, it's at TJ Maxx. The DW brand is like amazing. It's half the price, and to me, it's more. It lasts longer. So I do that. I love to travel, so those things were definitely on the radar pre-COVID. Definitely connecting with friends and family. Those things are important as well. But like maybe it's doing a little dance in the middle of the day. Like again, having ice cream, like whatever makes you feel good. Going to the spa. For me, like I buy a whole bunch of trinkets. I have this thing that like makes the room light up in like a galaxy from Amazon, $25. I have the back buddy. So like we're on our computers longer because we're in house. So having things to relieve tension, like I have no problem spending time, money, or whatever on me, because that's what you have to figure this out, right? And yes, we're in a pandemic, but we're not dead. So you have to figure out how to get through these days. and
Yes.
you have to figure it out. So that's one of the things that I personally do. I'm also a really good list person. So I actually have like on my wall, like giant sticky board, easel type things where I have a list of to-do list. So I know like these are the things that are like going to be on my radar. I also have, my debts. So I know like where I'm at, credit score, all that stuff. And another one, I have like ideas for going live. So I don't have to think about it. I can just do. So that helps to make things faster too, right? You don't want to every day think about what you're going to do. You just want to take a day to brain dump and then just action. It makes it a lot easier. You don't have to think about it. You can just go. So yes, keep my hair done. That was one of the things, right? What is stopping you from going live? For me, it was hair. So for me, I did my stylist website. She do my hair. We Gucci, right? Good job figuring out what works for you. What works for you.
Yes. And I love that you said that, because something I often have my clients do is to create a list of 50 things. And it's 50 things that they absolutely joy, that brings them happiness or relaxes them, brings them peace. And I let them know, like, you have 100% permission to make this list absolutely selfish. Like, don't think about anybody else on this list. This is all for you. Some things you'll do quickly. Some things might take some planning. Some things might be free. Some things might take some budgeting. But anytime you're having that down moment, you could easily go to this list and be like, oh, wait, you know what? Let me do this right now to pick my energy back up, or to relax myself, or to practice self-care. So I love that you brought that up, because it is so true. And we all need to take note, because you have to put yourself first. And that is counterintuitive to what society tells us to do. But if you don't put yourself first, then you will affect your mental and emotional health, and that will overflow into your physical health, and you won't be able to do anything for anybody. So
yeah. I think that there's this thing that they talk about, right? Yes, going through all the emotions is important. I respect all of my emotions. I receive them. But I think, at least personally, we were made to vibrate in the high energy. So if you're gone like 3 or 4 days in low energy, something is wrong. Like, figure out what you need to do to fix it. But that's how we go into like that spiral of depression because we haven't fixed it. And we don't talk enough about it. Like I operate really well when I'm happy.
Yes.
And that is something that I want to do, and I want to achieve that every day. It's not something that I just want to do every now and then. And sometimes I have to work on it, sometimes I don't, but it's very important.
So important. And listen, if you missed it, make sure you go back and watch the replay. This has been another awesome This has been another awesome episode of the Happy Hour Show with Lindsey Vertner and my special guest, Miss Danielle Mitchell. And I know that you have a special book that you would like to share with the listeners. So go ahead and tell them about your 10K in 60 days.
Yes, so I have this book called 10K in 60 Days. And so this is basically an ultimate guide for those that want to become profitable. So it's for service-based business owners who want to become profitable online by selling ebooks, masterclasses, courses, and digital products without struggling to make sense of marketing. So if anybody's listening that's like, I really want to start this process, where do I begin? I'm confused. This will tell you everything you need to know. So if you're looking for where to host your course, we give you where to go, where to find your templates. We talk about there, how to make it yourself, or how to find and talk to designers that will do it for you. Again, we are able to help you as well. But for a lot of people, you can do it all yourself. You can definitely do it yourself. I definitely suggest at first, test it out, make your sales, and then start growing and scaling. So I have some of my marketing strategies on there. I have some of my go-tos. You can even do a 30-day challenge in there if you want to go live or something like that. So it's really to help you to grow, scale. And so we also talk about having that high ticket offer. So you're able to figure out what that looks like. We talk about having a transformational offer. That's going to get your high ticket. You're taking somebody from point A to point B or point A to point Z. It's really up to you. But for me, I feel like that is the way. Everybody is going to have some sort of digital product in the next 4 to 5 years. That is going to be your extra stream of income. Again, it's enough money for us all. It's enough people for us all. And so if you feel like, oh, that industry is too big or too busy, it's not. You can definitely make room in there and make a way for yourself. And honestly, I feel like digital products are the next, I would say, like business card. For me, I've helped a daycare owner. She has created her own. So this is one of the things we made for her. I have a planner it's called Her Business Planner. So there's been so many things that I've done. Again, this year, all this has been created in the last 10 months. Nothing was really created before, but once you do the first one, it's a lot easy. And again, I've had a daycare owner create her own mastering shapes and colors. I've had finance people come up with their own financial planner. There's something for everyone. And if you're not sure, go to Amazon and just Google, and you will see that whatever idea you have, it's probably already up there. And there's a niche for that. There's people that will buy what you're selling. And that's
Awesome. So if you missed it, you see it right there on the screen. If you want to make $10,000 in 60 days, go to bit.ly/10 in 60 days. That's bit.ly/10IN60DAYS. And I want to thank my lovely, lovely guest, Ms. Danielle Mitchell, marketing strategist. Find her at averageblackgirl.com or on Instagram at DannySoFancy. You see it right there on the screen. And make sure that you sign up for Happy Hour Show updates at bit.ly/happy updates. That way you can stay tuned on all things Happy Hour. You can find out about upcoming episodes or recap of past episodes. And sometimes my guests give a special happy hour special, but you have to be on the VIP list to get it. So make sure that you sign up for updates. Yes, Toya says, I love it. And you can get the for her book, you can get the print copy or the digital copy. Okay, so definitely check it out. Follow my special guest. And with that, I will see you back here next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, where I will be back with another guest on the Happy Hour show. And with that, I pray you have many, many blessings as you go into the rest of your week. Bye.